Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. There's no doubt that we're living in strange times at the moment, times of unbelievable change. I tend to think it's a bit like sometimes having a football match and you go out onto a pitch and it's 11 against 11 and you start playing football, and then all of a sudden someone says, look, let's make the pitch much smaller, and they move the goalposts and bring them in a bit, and you say, oh, well, okay, and you kind of get used to that, and then all of a sudden someone says, well, instead of having 11 aside, why don't we have 6 aside? And so we put people off the pitch and we start playing like that, and then someone says, I really don't like having a referee, let's bin the referee and get rid of him. And then someone says, well, why should we have 6 aside when we can have 8 on one side and 6 on another side? And it just constantly changes. And in many ways, life is a bit like that at the moment, with sets of guidelines being given and you just get used to them, and then they all change. They either change or people ignore them. In many ways it can be like that in life, and certainly in the Bible there were people who were given God's guidelines, God's instructions, and for whatever reason, whether they got bored or whether they wanted to do their own thing, or some didn't want to be dictated to, they decided to ignore the guidelines and go off and do their own thing. And that's when they got into trouble. And so I recognise that some of us have found lockdown difficult and some of the guidelines a bit contradictory, but it's important as good followers of Christ that we follow the government's guidelines at the moment. And that's really what we're trying to do here in our fellowship. We're trying to follow government guidelines. Following them is one thing, interpreting them is another, and as you can imagine, we've had loads and loads of discussions about how we can open up safely for worship, but we're kind of now at the point where we think, yeah, we need to try and get things going. And so as you can see from today's News from the Study, from tomorrow you'll be able to book to come to a service on the 27th of September. That service is obviously going to be very different. We'll be limited to about 60 people. That particular service won't have live music. It'll be videos, but there'll also be a bit of live input from Mark and myself. People will be socially distanced, and unfortunately we'll have to wear masks. The following week we hope to possibly try and have some live music, but obviously we can't sing. Now, some of us may not want to come to church under those circumstances, and I absolutely understand that. At my mum's funeral and at Nigel's mum's funeral, we weren't allowed to sing. We had to sit with masks on right through the service, and it was unbelievably cold. And there was a part of you thought, it really shouldn't be like this. And I understand if some of us would feel that about a service and would want to come, and that's fine. We'll still be able to watch it live on the internet. That said, some of us might just want to come and see others that we haven't seen for a while, and that's fine and that's good, but again we want to say to you that you're going to have to socially distance when we come together. So that's where we're up to. If you have any questions, you can email Mark or myself, and this week we're going to be looking at the whole subject of God cares, and I think you might just know the psalm. It's number 23. Until then, have a good week, folks. Stay in His grip. Bye.